In the world of trading, where a single click can determine the course of many days that follow, most people still believe one thing. If you want to win, you must be very good at analysis. You must read candles precisely, understand market structure, master Elliott, Wyckoff, RSI, MACD. The more, the better. That's what people believe, but the market doesn't. Because its strong analysis were enough, there wouldn't be so many intelligent people collapsing, so many traders drawing patterns like fortune tellers while their accounts quietly bleed dry. So many systems optimized with indicators, algorithms, big data, only to eventually disappear without a sound. I was one of them, a knowledge addict, losing not because I didn't know enough, but because I couldn't control what was happening inside me. Then I met someone. No indicators, no complicated setups. He didn't even analyze the way I thought analysis was supposed to look. But he won, consistently, coldly, in a way that made it feel as if he was always a half step ahead of the market. He said one sentence to me, short, simple, and it has stayed with me ever since. You're not losing because your analysis is weak. You're losing because your mind is still unstable. That night, I sat for a long time in front of a screen full of red trades, not to find flaws in my strategy, but to ask myself, how many people out there are just like me, believing they need more knowledge, more models, one more tool, when what they truly lack is the ability to remain steady in the middle of chaos. This video is not for those searching for a holy grail. It's not for those who still believe that being right 70% of the time is enough to live comfortably in the market. No, this video is for those who have entered wrong because of themselves, for those who feel that something is off even when the system looks perfect on paper. And I want to tell you why the ones who last the longest are not the best analysts, but the ones who can remain calm when everything around them begins to fall apart. In trading, victory is not on the chart. It lies in the state of the person who is looking at that chart. If you walk with me, we'll peel back each emotional layer, fear, greed, expectation, until you reach a very bare truth. It's not who understands the market better who wins, but who understands themselves sooner. After that night, I entered a storm. But it wasn't a market storm, it was an internal one. Each losing trade felt like a thunderclap, reminding me that all the knowledge I had accumulated was still not enough to withstand the turbulence within myself. I began to ask, is there a path that allows me not only to read price, but to read my own state when facing price? I remembered my early days when I believed every trend line, every indicator, every number was a key to freedom. But every time I entered a trade, right or wrong, emotion carried me away like a massive wave. And then I understood something. Perhaps success doesn't come from knowing more. Perhaps it comes from moving less inside. So I stepped away from the screen, away from the numbers, and began a far more difficult journey, understanding myself. I began searching for a different path, not a loud one, not a hurried one, a slower path where the market no longer screamed in my ears every day. I learned how to sit still, not to meditate in any lofty sense, but to observe myself, to watch how emotions surface the moment real money is on the table. Fear arrives first, greed follows close behind, then expectation, doubt, and finally regret. I didn't try to push them away. I treated them like visitors passing through. Each one carried a message, whether pleasant or uncomfortable. In those quiet moments, I slowly realized something. It was awareness in the face of emotion, not a sharper strategy, that allowed me to remain in the market. There were periods when the market turned its back on me after a few wins and losses in a row. Before, I would dive back into the charts, flip through every time frame, tear the system apart looking for mistakes. Now, I stop. I listen to what I'm feeling. And I noticed something uncomfortable but honest. Many times I wasn't acting because of a signal, but because of fear of missing out. Not because of probability, but because emotion had stepped ahead of reason by half a beat. From there, I began training a different kind of discipline, internal discipline. Not perfect calm, but enough clarity to avoid panic, slow enough to not push myself into error. I didn't learn this in a day. I learned by paying the price, bit by bit. After every loss, I asked myself one question. Did I lose because of the market, or because I failed to maintain my state? Gradually, I understood something simple but painfully difficult to live by. A trader doesn't need to be right all the time, but he must be solid enough to not destroy himself. I began to imagine myself like a Marubozu candle, no wicks, no hesitation, a solid body standing upright in the middle of noisy, distorted sessions. When volatility surged, when charts became chaotic, the only thing keeping me grounded was not an indicator, but my internal state. I started seeing things differently. Technical analysis still matters, but I no longer treat it as the final answer. Price is only the surface. Beneath it lies an ocean of emotion, mine and the crowd's. I asked myself, if you have to walk into a storm, would you rather carry one more tool or have a mind clear enough to know when to move forward and when to stop? For me, the answer came slowly, but once I saw it, I could never return to the old way. This path didn't help me win more immediately, but it stopped me from losing myself. And when each trade stopped feeling like a gamble and instead became a test of maturity, I knew I had entered a different phase. I share this with you, not to teach, but to invite you to look at yourself. Because in trading, the one who loses is not the one who lacks knowledge, but the one who fails to notice when emotion had quietly taken the wheel.
What I've shared so far is only the beginning. And I believe that if one day you learn how to find stillness within yourself, each trade will no longer feel like a gamble, but more like a piece of music where you know when to slow down, when to hold the rhythm, and when to stop completely. I want to tell you a story. Not a story about a winning trade or a blown account, but a story that unfolds inside every trader. A place the market cannot draw with trend lines, cannot measure with Fibonacci, and cannot capture with any indicator. When I first stepped into trading, I was like many others, obsessed with analysis, studying every candlestick pattern, every reversal signal, every number dressed up as probability. I believed that if I understood deeply enough, winning would be inevitable. That if my analysis was good enough, I would stand above the rest. And then I lost. Not because I didn't know, but because I was afraid. Afraid of being wrong, afraid of losing money, afraid of seeing red numbers on the screen and closing the trade myself just seconds before price turned around. Have you felt that? A trade is in drawdown, just a few pips away from break even, but your heart starts racing, your palms get sweaty, you exit, and 1 minute later, the market moves exactly as you expected. You sit there, empty. It was in moments like that that I had to swallow a difficult truth. In trading, the real opponent is not the market, it is yourself at the exact moment you lose control. I began to observe my emotions seriously. When my heart rate spiked, when I entered trades out of frustration, when I doubted my own analysis less than 10 minutes after drawing it. And I understood a simple truth. When the mind is unstable, no analysis is strong enough to save a trade. Trading doesn't destroy you with one big collapse. It erodes you through small moments of lost control, repeated day after day, until you no longer trust yourself enough to even open a chart. I tried to fight emotion with discipline, checklists, journals, sticky notes all over my screen. Still, I lost. Because discipline doesn't come from forcing yourself to be rigid. It appears only when you truly understand your limits. You cannot stay calm if your position size keeps you awake at night. You cannot be objective if you are risking money you cannot afford to lose. So, I changed. I traded smaller, I wrote scenarios before entering a trade and committed not to change them once the market started moving. I placed my stop loss and left it untouched. And strangely enough, I began to win. Not because I became better, but because emotion no longer stood between analysis and execution. You see, trading is nothing more than an internal battle. Each trade is a quiet question. Am I still myself in this moment? You don't need to know everything. You only need to know enough and execute that enough consistently without emotion. I often describe that state as a Marabuzu candle. No upper wick, no lower wick, just a solid body moving in one clear direction without hesitation. I'm not saying this to teach you anything profound. I say it to remind myself and to remind you of a truth that is very hard to accept in trading. The market does not reward the smartest person. It rewards the one who stays standing the longest. Maybe you're listening to these words right after a losing trade. Maybe you're wondering whether you should stop. Or maybe you still believe that somewhere out there exists a more sophisticated strategy, a formula strong enough to never lose. I believed that too, for a long time. But the truth is this: winning or losing is not about how accurate your analysis is. It's about whether you have the strength to do nothing when emotions begin to rise. I've met many people in this market, brilliant analysts, people who know indicators by heart, who can read every wave, every price structure, people using bots, AI, machine learning, plenty of them. But you know what? Most of them disappear. Only a few stay long enough, and among those who stay, only a small group truly builds financial freedom. Do they have something in common? Yes, and it has nothing to do with technique. Pause for a moment and ask yourself, was your last losing trade really because your analysis was wrong, or because you entered too early, because you feared missing out, because you wanted to recover after a losing streak, because doing nothing made you uncomfortable? Emotion, that is the most sophisticated trap the market sets. Those who haven't paid enough tuition believe trading is logic, systems, intelligence. But those who have been burned a few times understand. Trading is not a competition of knowledge, it is a test of endurance and self-control. If you ask me what it takes to go far in trading, the answer is not more indicators and not some invincible secret. You only need to develop 3 things. First, the courage to stay still when there is no clear opportunity. Many traders lose not because they enter wrongly, but because they enter when there is no need to enter. They open a chart and feel they must do something, as if not trading means being useless. But those who actually make money are different. They wait, like predators. 10 days without a trade means nothing to them. They don't need the feeling of being busy, they need certainty. Second, always trade with a scenario written in advance and never change it mid-trade. Entry, exit, stop loss, all decided when the mind is calm. When the market shakes, they don't touch the position because they understand very clearly adjusting a trade while emotions are rising is the fastest way to destroy an account. Third, know your limits and stop testing them every day. The best traders I've ever known are not the ones with the highest win rate, they're the ones who are still here. They know when to stop. They don't revenge trade. They accept losses the way they accept rain, without anger, without resistance. For them, strength is measured not by how many trades they win, but how long they can keep themselves intact. Financial freedom in trading doesn't come from a method, it comes from a state.
I once had a long conversation with a British man living in Bali. He doesn't run courses, he doesn't show P&L, he doesn't need anyone to call him a good trader. Yet, every month, he makes an amount of money that many people only dare to dream of purely from trading. I asked him a very direct question. "What's your secret?" He smiled, very lightly. Then he said, "I don't trade to win. I trade to stay conscious. Conscious when I enter, conscious when the market moves against me, conscious even when I'm in profit so I know when to leave." Then he added a sentence I remembered for a long time. "When you are conscious enough, money will come to you on its own." So, if you truly want to walk a long road in trading, if you are genuinely serious about this path, start not with tools, but with emotional discipline. Train the mind before training the skill. Because when the mind is steady, trades become clear. And when the mind is chaotic, no chart is ever right. People often ask me, "Is financial freedom real?" I nod. Then I quietly add one more thing. It doesn't begin with money. It begins with a feeling, the feeling that money no longer controls you. There was a time when I thought I was close to that place. Winning trades came one after another. The account grew steadily. Analysis was sharp. Strategy was clear. Everything unfolded exactly the way I had learned and believed. I started to think, just a few more months like this. But the market has never cared about what you think, and it never follows the script you hope for. I increased my position size, entered earlier, convinced myself that I had reached a higher level. And then, within a single week, everything collapsed. A string of bad trades, an unexpected move, months of accumulated gains, gone. I didn't scream, didn't slam the table, didn't blame anyone. I just sat there staring at the chart and smiled faintly. Not because I lost money, but because I lost trust in myself. I once believed I had learned to control the market, but it turned out the one thing I had never controlled was myself. I was no longer entering trades because the opportunity was clear, but because I felt pressure to maintain the image of someone who was winning. I wasn't trading anymore, I was gambling with my ego. Each trade was no longer a strategic decision, but an internal struggle between fear and wounded pride. And when you trade in that state, no matter how accurate your analysis is, you will eventually destroy everything with your own hands. It took me a long time to recover. Not to recover the account, but to recover my mind. I stopped trading for a while, not because I gave up, but because I needed to relearn something very basic. The best trader is not the one who wins the most, it is the one who, after winning, still keeps himself intact. When I returned to the market, I came back with a different state of mind. I was no longer excited by the feeling of catching the right trend. I searched for silence in my head before clicking the mouse. I learned to stay out when the market was unclear, and I only stepped in when I myself was truly calm. I learned how to say no, not to the market, but to the ego that kept pushing me to prove I was right. It was in those moments of stopping that I slowly found myself again, not as a better trader, but as a human being steady enough to not be swept away by invisible emotional waves. I don't need to win every trade. I only need to keep myself intact long enough, clear enough, to let the market pass while I remain whole. Before closing this series, there is one question I want you to pause and ask yourself. Are you trying to beat the market, or are you learning how not to lose yourself? Once you truly understand that question, you will stop rushing. You will stop searching for a perfect trade. You will simply keep going, slower but steadier. Because in this game, you are the most important position you hold. There is something the market never tells you. It's not in books, not in courses, no one teaches it. But whoever touches it becomes free. It is the moment you sit in front of the screen and your hands are no longer pulled by emotion. No FOMO, no fear, No holding positions with hope, just you and a mind clear enough, still like a lake after the wind has stopped. I have been exactly where you are. I've thrown my phone after a stop-loss sweep, spent sleepless nights over a red trade, doubted myself, wanted to quit. But then I chose to stop. Not to beat the market, but to beat myself. Day by day, month by month, trade by trade. Nothing dramatic, just very small victories. Not entering a trade out of anger, not moving a stop-loss when price spikes, not comforting myself with empty hope. And then, one day, I realized something. Financial freedom doesn't come from one big winning trade. It comes from the moment you no longer need to prove anything. You don't need to recover losses, you don't need to perform, you don't need a winning trade to feel worthy. And when you are no longer attached, money starts to come, quietly, without urgency, steadily, like breathing. I share this with you not because I'm special. I am not better than you. I simply managed to keep myself intact a little longer. And if you are still listening, I believe there is a part of you that wants to do the same, to step out of losing streaks, not only in trading, but in life. To master your finances without trading away your peace of mind. So start here. You don't need to change everything. Next time, before you click into a trade, pause for 3 seconds. Take one deep breath and ask yourself, am I entering this trade because of logic or because of emotion? If it's emotion, be brave enough to do nothing. Sometimes not acting is the strongest action of all. I don't know who you are, but I believe if you walk far enough and hold yourself deeply enough, one day you will look back and smile. Trading will no longer be a place where you lose money. It will become a place where you learn to master yourself. And if one night you open a chart, see the market spike violently, but you don't panic, don't click, just observe, then shut the screen and go to sleep. Congratulations, you are touching freedom. I don't teach you how to read candles. I simply tell you how to become one. Steady, no wicks, no fear.